Game balance is a situation when all elements of game design are equally distributed to ensure that a game isn't unfair or overly easy. In a good game, all aspects of the game should be balanced. Balance is often difficult to achieve because many players are able to easily pick up where the game is unbalanced and take advantage of that. A perfectly balanced game should follow simple rules such as the power of the player being in balance with the power of the enemy. New features should be gradually introduced throughout the game. As the game progresses and the player gets better, the opponents should become more and more difficult, thus matching the player's abilities. The risk versus reward structure is an essential component of game design. However, it's important that there is a defined balance between the two. The risk must match the reward. For example, say the difficulty of the challenge or the risk is high. The reward must be worth the risk. Rewarding one coin for killing an extremely difficult boss would be unfair. Rewards can come in all different shapes and sorts. They can be in the form of a particular score or point system, a graphical or musical feature, items that have an advantage to the player, so things like better weapons, level ups, spells, power ups, or knowledge about the game. There are also permanent rewards and temporary rewards. Permanent rewards are given when bigger goals are achieved. For example, rewarding a better weapon or spell or a car in a racing game can change the game from that point onward and change the way the player plays. Temporary rewards are given when the player achieves minor goals. This type of reward is usually given to make the gameplay easier until another goal is achieved. An example of a temporary reward could be a spell or power-up that has a time limit. A game that uses this time-limited spell reward system is Dota 2. The reward must always match or come close to matching the risk so that the game is balanced and fair. Many people consider graphics and audio the crucial ingredients of creating a good game. However, this is not always the case. Some of the oldest games, such as Super Mario 64 and The Legend of Zelda, the graphics and audio are terrible, but they are still great games, enjoyed by a large audience. But the game owes its success to presence and immersion. These elements are crucial to a game. A player needs to be able to develop an emotional attachment to the storyline and the characters to be able to become immersed in the game. If the player feels as if their contribution to the game really matters and has quite an impact on the game, they become easily immersed. For example, when Beyond Two Souls was released, many players became heavily influenced and immersed in the game and finished the game within 2 days because of the emotional connection between the protagonist and the accomplice. Game flow is important to keep players playing the game, as if they do not feel some sense of achievement or progression, they will no longer have the motive or want to play. This is why quests or missions often give the players different rewards. The same goes for difficulty progression. Many game designers have made mistakes in this area by not increasing the difficulty throughout the entire game. If a game is made like this, it becomes too easy once the player gets more accustomed to the way the game mechanics work. This is why many games have an leveling system. For example, completing a difficult boss makes other enemies slightly buffed up. In conclusion, there are many aspects of a game that need to be considered before it can be considered a good game. These aspects include immersion, game flow, presence, the risk versus reward scheme, goals, and balance. There are some games that include all of these aspects and attempt to reach all the audiences. For example, casual gamers, hardcore gamers, and professional gamers, which is never an easy task to accomplish.